This is the Ultrahuman Ring Air. You use this to measure your sleep, your body temperature, and your activity to help you with your everyday health. The ring costs $350 and you don't need a subscription to view your data. The ring currently comes in a couple different colors and I've chosen the Bionic Gold, but I hope in the future there is a matte gold version. There's no screen, there's no haptics, and there's no LEDs, except for one inside. The ring is pretty light. It feels kinda plasticky, but not in a cheap way. The inside of the ring is very smooth, except for a small little bump which holds some of the technical electronic stuff. Quick disclaimer, Ultrahuman sent me this ring. I'm not being paid, and they're not gonna see this video before it's published or have any say in what is being said. Once you purchase your ring, within 24 hours, you're going to receive a sizing kit. And in here are all of the different sizes of rings. So you can try them on whatever finger you please and wear them for a couple hours, ideally overnight, to see which size is going to fit your fingers the best. Ultrahuman advises you to wear your ring on your index finger. I tried that for a few days. I found it uncomfortable and I found it look kind of silly, and I found it interfered when I was texting. So I went with my middle finger. Once you know your size, you just scan the QR code and they'll send you your ring in the color that you want. I don't really wear much jewelry. Even wearing a wedding band was a stretch for me. I went with a comfort fit, very small wedding band when I got this. So the Ultrahuman is significantly bigger compared to my wedding ring. So it was very noticeable to me as soon as I started wearing a new ring on a different hand. And it took me a week or so until I started to realize that it wasn't there. So I've now been wearing this ring for about 3 months and it feels like it's part of my body. When it's charging and it's not on my finger, it feels weird that it's not there. Choosing a shiny glossy ring, I was a little nervous of how this would hold up. I haven't babied the ring, but I also don't work a ton with my hands like maybe a construction worker would. But there's no scratches or scrapes or gouges out of the ring, just very, very minimal wear, and I'm pretty impressed with how it's held up so far. Prior to the Ultrahuman Ring Air, the only other wearable smart device that I've owned is an Apple Watch. With the Apple Watch, I am used to charging this thing every 24 hours. So it was kind of an odd feeling waking up and seeing that my ring's battery would only be at 70%. Ultrahuman promises that the battery will last on the ring for 6 days. In my experience, I've found it's about 4 to 4.5. I've heard many people comment on the fact that they don't like how short the Apple Watch battery is, but because it dies every day, I'm able to charge it at the exact same time every day. It's predictable, and I know the watch is gonna get charged. With the Ultrahuman Ring Air, the schedule varies every 4 days, and I don't know where I'm gonna be or what I'm going to be doing when the battery calls for a charge. When I hop in the shower or when I'm washing dishes or sitting on the couch, sometimes I'll just pop my ring on the charger. However, it's not the fastest charge, but it does juice it up a little bit. I find the ring takes about an hour and a half-ish to charge from pretty close to empty to full. There is a small LED inside of the ring, and we're gonna talk more about that later, but I see that it glows green at certain times throughout the day. And I think it would be interesting if it could switch to red when the battery on the ring is low. The way you charge the ring is with this small little guy right here. You drop the ring on top and you line it up with the back, and it's charged with USB-C. If a friend of yours is trying to charge their ring on your charger and you guys have different size fingers, the ring may not fit. The charger has a LED indicator on the top, and it is always illuminated when you have it plugged in, and the pulse of the LED changes when you drop your ring onto it to charge. When the ring is done charging, the ring is quite hot from being on the charger. It's not unbearable, but I would not want it much hotter, but I usually take it off the charger and let it rest for a minute or so before I put it on my finger. Because the ring doesn't have any haptics or a screen, most of the interaction and information you'll get from the ring are going to be done through the app. The app is really clean, and there's a whole lot of information that it provides. Along the bottom of the app, there are 5 different sections, and as somebody who only owns one product from Ultrahuman and doesn't use many of these other features, I really just stick to the first menu. In this first section is the blocks of information with all the data that the ring has been collecting about you. I believe the app rearranges these blocks depending on the time of the day and how often you check it. After using this app for 3 or so months, the interface of the app and the presentation of the information has got much better. I can tell Ultrahuman is doing a great job of removing the information that is not important, and giving you shorter and clearer blurbs about the information and how to interpret it. The app syncs to Apple Health and with Strava and many of the other apps that you've probably already been tracking some of your information with, so you're not starting from scratch here and you're receiving data from other apps. There's an option to start a workout in the Ultrahuman app, and I found I haven't used this as much as the workouts on my Apple Watch. With the Apple Watch, I can have it right on my main screen, and with 2 taps, I'm doing a workout. And the Ultrahuman workout is a little more buried in the menus. I really enjoy what the interface of the workout looks like, and the live activities are also a really nice touch. Lately, Ultrahuman has been adding these almost like plugins or widgets called power plugs, and currently I have ones called sun exposure, caffeine window, and circadian dead zone. And Ultrahuman promises to have some more in the future. In the past 3 months of using this app, there has been so many updates, and I am very happy with the direction that the app is going, and I can see that it's only going to be getting better. I love having widgets on the main screen of my phone to quickly get information, and I haven't found that there's an Ultrahuman widget that I enjoy using. I would like to see a widget from Ultrahuman that is similar to the Apple Fitness widget, something that shows you multiple pieces of data on the same screen. I also hope that the Ring's battery percentage can be shown in Apple's battery status widget. I find it's a nice change to have a device that I'm wearing that is just collecting data in the background and very rarely alerting me of what to do with my day. I think there's a time and a place for these wearables to coach you through how you should behave throughout your day, but it's nice to just be tracking stuff in the background. I found that I get about 4 notifications from the Ring throughout the day, and if I'm looking for any additional information, I just check in the app. One of my favorite notifications that I receive is my ideal time to go to bed, based on my previous few nights of sleep. One of the most confusing notifications I occasionally receive is the time in the evening to avoid bright lights. I live in Alberta, Canada, and sometimes the sun is up till 10 o'clock in the evening, and there's been times when I get a warning at 7 p.m. to avoid bright lights. I don't know how this is entirely possible. I don't know if the Ring tracks where I'm at in the sunset and sunrise, but it's kind of impossible for me to abide by this. There's a few more observations that I've found owning this Ring for the past 3 months. Earlier I mentioned that there's a green LED light inside the Ring, and it illuminates at very random times. I found most consistently that it illuminates in the evenings, and I've noticed it when I go to lay down in bed. It's not a bright light, and it's pointed towards your skin, but if I'm going to bed in a dark room, it feels like my entire hand is glowing from the green light coming from my Ring. I don't know if there's a way to turn this off. I don't know if it really turns off on its own, but every evening I notice this green light, and if I'm putting my hand beside my face to go to sleep, it's pretty bright. Speaking of bright lights, when the charger is plugged in, regardless of whether the Ring is on the charger or not, there's a pretty bright LED coming from this. So if you plan on leaving the charger plugged in beside your bed, there's going to be a bright light blinking in your room. My solve for this is to get one of those adhesive stoppers from Starbucks. I don't know what these are called. You know, when you get a drink from Starbucks and you don't want it to spill, and so they put this sticker on top of it. I just put it on top of this LED. It's not pretty, but I can leave this plugged in all the time beside my bed, and the light isn't keeping me up. When I first got this thing, I wondered if it would be replacing or competing with my Apple Watch. But after a few months of wear, I've come to the conclusion that the Apple Watch is more for movement and activity and motivation, as well as a little personal computer on your wrist, and the Ring is more passive for collecting information in the background. Both devices collect similar information, but there is also equally as much different information that they collect. Based on the amount of updates that the Ultrahuman Ring Air app has received in the past few months, I'm pretty positive that my experience is going to continue to be positive with this Ring, and I imagine that more people will be picking up one of these in the future, especially if there's not a monthly subscription required to just operate this thing. I'm impressed with how many pieces of data can be collected, tracked, and monitored with the Ultrahuman Ring Air. My name is Davey, and thanks for letting me spill the gravy.